Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. If we want to revive Islam, we must know what Islam is. And the central characteristic of Islam is that Islam is a religion of knowledge. The first wahi which was revealed to the Prophet in the cave of Hira by Jibreel alayhi salam was that Allah Ta'ala taught man by the pen that which he did not know. And the Prophet ﷺ said that knowledge is the root of all good and ignorance is the root of all evil. So basically, it is knowledge which is at the heart of Islam. Some of the questions to which Muslims no longer know the answers is, what was the source of the miraculous, amazing rise of Islam? What was the knowledge which transformed ignorant and backwards barbarians into world leaders? If you look at the pages of history, there is no parallel to this. And so we must understand how this happened, how this revolution happened, in order to understand how we can recreate this revolution today. So in broad outlines, we must understand that Islam launched a revolution in knowledge. And it was this knowledge which Allah Ta'ala gave to ignorant and backwards Bedouin that changed them into the leaders of the world. This knowledge created a civilization which was the thought leader of the world. They gathered knowledge from all over the world, they integrated it, they advanced it, they critiqued it. Today, we are no longer thought leaders of the world, and now the West is the thought leader. So how did this happen? How did we lose our lead, and what are the effects of this change? If you want to study the rise and fall of Islam, we must study what has happened to knowledge. The story that I am trying to tell is very strange and very puzzling and very mysterious. It raises many, many questions. What was this revolutionary knowledge given to mankind by God? And don't we have it today? And how did it get lost? It is the greatest knowledge, so how can knowledge get lost? And how did it apparently better and superior kind of knowledge emerge, which was developed by the Western civilization, which doesn't have Islam? So is there a knowledge that is better than the knowledge that was given to mankind by God himself? The beginning of Wahi starts very powerfully where God reveals himself to our Prophet as a teacher, as the one who gives knowledge to mankind. So since God is the teacher, his teaching must be complete and perfect. And this is asserted in the Quran. The Hadith says that if you seek knowledge, if you follow a path in pursuit of knowledge, Allah Ta'ala will make the path of Jannah easy for you. There are many verses of the Quran which testify to the superiority of knowledge and the superiority of the seeker of knowledge and the great value that Allah Ta'ala places on knowledge. And one of the examples is that Adam alayhi salam was taught the names of things, and then the angels were ordered to make sajda to him on the account of the knowledge that has been given to him. So the importance given to knowledge in Islam, and the fact that every single individual is bound to seek knowledge for himself or herself, this is a unique feature of Islam. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran gives many different logical arguments for deen, many arguments which are suitable for different kinds of people. Have you not seen? Do you not think? Do you not take heed? And so many appeals to the heart that Allah Ta'ala loves you, He cares for you, He wants you to do well. So basically, to be a Muslim is to be a seeker of knowledge. This is what the central teaching of Islam is. That. So what was the nature of this knowledge that was given to mankind? It's complete and perfect message, and it enters the hearts. This is from the Hadith. And Imam al-Ghazali says that there are 4 dimensions of human personality. There is the heart or qalb, there is the mind, there is the soul, and there is the nafs. which translates imperfectly to the ego in English. So Imam Ghazali developed a theory of knowledge based on these four dimensions, but the father of Western philosophy, Descartes, who basically copied this theory of Ghazali very, very closely, was unable to understand some aspects of it. And so there was a loss, a very, very important loss. And this loss has caused a distortion in Western philosophy which continues to this day. They only understand aql as the source of knowledge, and they have ignored and disregarded the other three dimensions of knowledge. So Islam trains the heart and tells us that the heart is an instrument for recognition of God. It has to be purified, and if it is pure, then it can recognize the truth, it can feel compassion for all human beings, and it is the source of emotional energy and passion and the drive to do good things, uh, to serve the creation of God out of the love of God. So the heart is at the center of uh, Islamic knowledge. Islamic knowledge also involves training the mind, which basically means learning to recognize the signs of Allah, looking through the appearances to the underlying reality, looking at the structure of the orbiting planets to learn about gravity, using mathematics to describe some of the wonders of the creation, and marveling at the beautiful geometry and the perfect engineering that Allah Ta'ala has used in the design of this amazing universe, all as a demonstration and a sign of His perfection. Islam involves training the ruh, or the soul. The soul is the thing which is permanent, which persists, which was there before we were born and will be there after we are dead. And the soul is the source of vision, and the highest stage is when the soul recognizes God. We were created as souls and we were told to recognize God, and we all recognized God in the alam al-arwah. So this soul also animates our body. It is the difference between the dead body and the live body, whether the soul is in it, which activates this flesh. The fourth component is the nafs, or the desires. These desires are like wild horses. They can lead us anywhere. We just do whatever the nafs commands us to do. That's the nafs ammara. So the nafs has to be tamed and trained so that it obeys us instead of our obeying the nafs. And that is done by techniques, one of which is mentioned in the Quran as لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. If you give away what you love the most, so this involves inflicting damage to the nafs. The nafs wants very much something, and you give it away. That's how you train the nafs. Once you train the nafs, then you see, the nafs is purely egotistical. It's only concerned about itself. It doesn't concern about the others. So when you give in to the nafs, then you almost always damage others. So once you start controlling the nafs, one of the instruments is the feeling of guilt that in fulfilling my own hunger, I left my brother hungry. So this feeling of guilt is part of spiritual progress. And eventually, if you do enough training, the nafs becomes nafsul mutmainna. So it is happy to do what Allah Ta'ala wants us to do, and it is unhappy when it does something selfish or harmful to us. So the Islamic revolution was created by mass level training. All of the public was trained in all of these four dimensions on a large scale. And the effect of this training lasted for 1,000 years. But this deep internal training, this knowledge that was given to mankind, was eventually and gradually lost. And so we had mass level form of the training. People memorized the things that were to be part of Islam, but they did not penetrate to the spirit of these things. So the outer form of the knowledge has been preserved by the scholars, and the Sufis preserved the internal dimensions of the training. But it's very important to understand that neither internal training nor external training is sufficient by itself. And if you just emphasize the heart without the form, the ruh itself without the form is powerless. And if you emphasize the form without the ruh, that body is dead. It is not of any use. So this conflict and this failure and this inability to integrate the form and the spirit is at the current source of the problems of the Ummah. One of the essential trainings of Islam is that this world is a temporary place. It is a place full of fitna. At the creation, the angels argued that why are you creating this being which will cause bloodshed and fitna and fasad on the earth? And that is because this fitna and fasad is the place where tests can be carried out. People are here for tests. They will do good, they will do evil. If they would not do this, then this would not be a test. So basically the path is shown to us by our heart, provided that it is pure. So purification of the heart is an essential part of Islam. So we want to look at why Islam declined. We have to look at these four sources of knowledge and how they were being given to all of the all of the members, the masses of the Islamic civilization, and how this training changed and became one of form and lost the spirit. So basically, the decline is the decline of knowledge, and the effects of the decline has been traced by Sayyid Abu Hasan Ali Nadwi in the decline of the Islamic civilization, its harmful effects on mankind, something which we will study in detail in a later lecture. But one of the consequences of the loss of the Noor of Islam was the spread of false doctrines and the rise of the West.